Finally, let's install the graphics card, the last component we need to put in. Pick up the card and look at the video ports on the back. They're all covered with dust caps. We need to remove these caps first, or the case's PCI bracket might block them later. Pull out all the dust caps from the video ports now. You can put caps back on unused ports after installation. Position the card and look at the bottom left. See that long horizontal slot? It's covered by a black plastic protector. Remove this black cover to reveal the PCI connector. Some pins in the gold contacts are shorter than others. That's normal. We'll insert this PCI connector into the motherboard's PCI slot. Look at the motherboard. That horizontal slot in the middle is the PCI ISO slot for graphics card. Many motherboards have multiple PCI slots with different speeds. Most boards work this way. The first slot is fastest with lowest latency. Install your card here. The second slot's usually half speed. Don't use it for graphics cards. There are rare exceptions like MSI Z97X Power with 5 full length slot. Its top slot is half speed from PLX splitting. The second slot's the full speed CPU connection. So on that board you'd use the second slot. But that's extremely rare. 999% of boards use the top full length slot. You usually don't need to check the manual. Align the GPU's PCI connector with the motherboard's PCI slot horizontally. Don't insert the GPU yet, just check the position first. See which PCI slot covers on the case will conflict with the GPU's video ports. Note which slot covers will conflict. Put the GPU aside, grab your screwdriver, and unscrew the corresponding case PCI slot covers. Remove the conflicting PCI covers. So some cases don't use screws for PCI covers, but have welded one-time covers instead. To remove these, use metal fatigue principle. Bend in and out repeatedly until they break off. When bending inward, don't scratch the motherboard capacitors. Some cases have a cover over the PCI screw mount. Remember to loosen the screw beforehand and move or remove it. You can reinstall it after installation's done. After removing the case PCI covers, lay the case flat, with the motherboard facing the ceiling. This prevents the GPU's weight from damaging the PCI slot when you're screwing it in. Press down the plastic clip at the end of the PCI slot, then pick up the GPU again. With the fans facing the case bottom, position the video ports toward where we removed the bracket. Align the GPU's PCIe connector with the motherboard slot. Insert the graphics card vertically into the PCIe slot. Press down firmly on the card side, right above the middle of the PCIe slot. Don't press on the power connector side. Once fully inserted, you'll hear a click. The black plastic clip on the PCIe slot's right side will lock in place. The GPU's bracket corner will align with the case's PCIe screw holes. Now the graphics card's properly seated. Find the large hex screws with caps from the screw kit. Screw them into the GPU bracket's corner here. You'll need 2 screws total. First this one in the hole, tighten it, then tighten the screw above. These 2 screws can be tightened firmly to prevent GPU movement. Finally, we need to connect the GPU's external power. Usually, the GPU power connectors are on the card's right side here. The RTX 3090 we're using for this build has 3 8-pin external power connectors, as you can see. Let's go to the case's back and look at the PSU cables. The 6 plus 2-pin cable is for GPU power. The 6-pin can work alone or combine with 2-pin to make 8-pin. Note that when combined, the cable clip should be centered on the connector. This combination is wrong. Also, if you need both clips, we see 2 Sikava 2-pin cables here. When combining, make sure the 6-pin and 2-pin are from the same cable. Cross-connecting 2 cables is also wrong. Before connecting, pull the GPU power cables from the PSU compartment. Since our GPU has 3 8-pin ports, we need 3 to combine 6-pin and 2-pin into 8-pin. Insert vertically into the GPU power port. Push all the way in. The plastic clip will click and lock automatically. Do the same for the other 2 cables. That completes the GPU power connection, and the GPU installation's done. Some budget GPUs don't need external power, so you'd skip this step. But if there's external power, connect as many pins as the power supply needs. 6PI in, can't leave any empty like if it's 6-pin, just connect 6-pin. Leave the extra 2 hanging on the side. 8-pin means combine one 6 plus 2-pin connector. A for 6-pin means combine one 6-2P2 connector, then connect a separate 6-pin. 8-8-pin means combine 2 6x2 connectors. If it's 8-pin, you'll need to combine 3 6x2 pins. No matter how many power ports there are, make sure to plug them all in. If you miss any or don't push them all the way, When you boot up, you'll see this English message, which basically means shut down first, then connect all the GPU's PCI power cables. One more thing to mention, many power supplies come with these splitter cables, one cable with two 6-2-pin connectors. I'd suggest when it's not necessary, just use one connector. Leave the other one hanging there. Cause the GPU's 6-tier 2-pin power only has 3 12V rails. Each terminal handles 6 to 8 amps, so total capacity is 216的处代理8 watts. But it'll drop due to loose connections, poor installation, or high temps, plus some manufacturers cheap out on cables, making the cables handle less power, so don't let one cable carry over 200 watts. Or you'll trigger PSU overload protection while gaming, sudden shutdown and blackout, or in extreme cases melt the cable sheath, creating safety hazards. If your GPUs are 3050 or 3060 mid to low end cards, total power is under 200 watts. Since PCI slot provides around 70 watts itself, actual external power needed is under 200 watts. If your GPU has dual 8-pin connectors, you can use a 1 to 2 cable normally, one cable handling all external power. But if you've got a 3080 Ti or 3090 high-end card, power draw hits around 400W. Minus what the PCI slot provides, you still need 300W externally. If the card only has two 8-pin ports, and you're still using one 1 to 2 cable, that single cable is carrying the full 300W load. High chance of cable overload and connector melting, so you must use two separate cables here. There's also a special case if you got a 3x8 pin card with high power draw, but your PSU only gives two 1 to 2 cables. Connect them following this method shown. Leftmost port gets its own 1 to 2 cable. Second cable's inner port goes to the middle connector. Outer port connects to the rightmost power port. This works cause GPUs prioritize power from connectors closer to the core. The leftmost port has the highest pressure, so the right 1 to 2 cable carries less power. You'll see this power connector on 3090 Ti and 40 series cards. It's the new 12-pulse OPI-M connector from ATX 3P spec, also called 16PI. Just 12PIN can provide up to 450W. Full 16PIN can provide up to C100W. Most new high-power PSUs come with standard 16PIN modular cables. If you already bought a PSU before, you can ask the manufacturer or buy a 16PIN modular cable. Connect the 2GAN PIN to the PSU's PCIe CPU ports. Then pull the 16PIN plug out from the PSU compartment. Align the 16PIN with the card's power port. Watch the small 4PN signal wire position. Don't flip it. Push the power connector all the way in. Once it's in, the plastic clip will lock automatically. That's the 16PIN power connection done. If your PSU is non-modular, can't swap cables, or you're too lazy or forgot to get a 16PIN cable, you can also find a 16-pin to 3.8-pin or 4.8-pin adapter in the GPU box. Connect one end to the graphics card. This converts the 16-pin into multiple 6-pin connectors like before. Just run cables from the PSU and connect them. That covers all the GPU power connection base.